We all have two lives, but the second life begins when we realize we only have one. So, what is your purpose? You see, studies show less than 25% of people can answer that question, with only 10% being able to articulate it clearly and only 5% actively living it. So what are the rest of us doing? I guess you think you're lazy, or at least that's what you keep telling yourself as each day slips by. When you scroll, delay, distract, relax, but still feel that quiet weight in your chest at night. It's heavy, isn't it? But what if I told you laziness isn't the problem? It's just the name you gave the confusion. Because if you were truly lazy, you wouldn't feel this tension. You wouldn't feel restless. You wouldn't feel exhausted from doing nothing. And yet, here you are, tired, overstimulated, and unsatisfied. That contradiction matters. A lazy person feels nothing, but you feel misaligned. You still wake up. You still show up where you're required. You still burn mental energy all day, processing information, reacting, consuming, staying busy in ways that leave no trace. That isn't laziness, that's motion without meaning. It's like paddling a boat in thick fog. You feel the strain in your arms, but you have no idea if you're moving forward or in circles. The modern world trains you into this state. It gives you endless stimulation but no direction. It keeps your mind occupied while quietly starving your sense of purpose. So when it's time to do something that actually matters, something self-chosen, demanding, uncertain, you freeze. Not because you lack discipline, but because nothing inside you is pulling forward. Purpose is the difference between effort that drains you and effort that gives you energy. Think about the moments when you did feel alive. They weren't comfortable. They weren't easy. But they felt aligned. You weren't pushing yourself. You were answering something. Purpose doesn't eliminate resistance. It gives resistance meaning. Without it, every task feels heavy. With it, even difficulty feels justified. That's why comfort becomes so seductive when purpose is missing. Because comfort asks nothing of you. It soothes the discomfort of not knowing where you're going. But comfort is a poor substitute for direction. Choosing comfort over becoming doesn't feel like destruction. It feels like relief. That's the danger. It's like letting dust gather on a compass. The needle still moves, but you no longer trust where it points. This is how people drift into lives they don't respect, not through failure, through delay. Delay teaches retreat. It conditions your nervous system to associate growth with threat. The future version of you starts to feel fictional, like a story you once believed in but stopped reading halfway through. That's not laziness. That's loss of belief. And belief is everything. When you don't believe your actions matter, your energy leaks everywhere. You give it to screens, distractions, obligations you didn't choose, because at least those don't ask you to risk disappointment. Purpose, on the other hand, demands something dangerous, commitment. Because once you commit, excuses fall. Purpose removes the option to hide behind potential. It forces you to become evidence. And that's terrifying. So instead, many people unconsciously choose stagnation. They call it laziness, but it's really self-protection, like living inside an empty house, everything echoes and the noise reminds you something is missing. Here's the truth most people never confront. You don't need more motivation. You need orientation, a reason that organizes your days, a direction that makes your sacrifices feel coherent. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It has to be yours. Some people build one path and walk it for decades. Others reinvent themselves many times. Both are valid, as long as movement is intentional. What destroys you isn't change. It's wandering without authorship. And yes, purpose creates resistance. The more meaningful something is, the more your mind will try to avoid it. That's not a sign you're on the wrong path. It's often proof you're close to something that matters. Purpose feels like standing at the edge of deep water. Your instincts scream retreat, but something older than fear tells you this is where growth lives. And when you finally step in, discipline stops feeling like punishment. It becomes loyalty to a direction you respect. You stop asking, how do I force myself, and start asking, what am I devoted to? That shift changes everything. Because a person without purpose needs discipline. A person with purpose becomes disciplined. So how do you find your purpose? Well, it's different for everybody. For some, they are born with it. For others, it takes decades to find their calling. I can't tell you how to find your purpose, but I can give you 3 questions to ask yourself. Who is calling for my help? What problems am I called on to solve? What am I willing to struggle for?